the approval ratings for President Obama are their lowest that they've ever been. So tell me, what are people thinking right now, and why are they so unhappy with the president's performance across the board? Tell us the areas.
Well, most Americans want to see the economy going. They want to see employment go up, and instead, all we see is unemployment go up. So people are dissatisfied with that. You have a whole Tea Party contingent, a lot of conservatives, Republicans. They buy into this idea that government spending is out of control, and that's what's causing the problem. Most mainstream economists, and really economists across the spectrum, other than extreme right-wingers, would tell you the problem is we don't have enough demand in our economy, and without a massive government stimulus, there's no way you're going to get the economy going. There's no way you're going to have more employment. So we're stuck. We're in this sort of goo, this frozen goo that Japan had for 20 years. So that's the real problem. And right now, nobody is happy with Barack Obama. Conservatives think he's a socialist, and a lot of Democrats and liberals think he's sold every one of his principles down the river to the conservative. They think he's governing as a conservative, giving in to the Republicans on every demand and getting nothing back. And they get extremely angry when they hear someone like Speaker John Boehner say, yeah, I got 98% of what I wanted out of that negotiation with Obama. So increasingly you're seeing Democrats dissatisfied with Obama. A member of Congress, Dennis Kucinich, voiced on national TV this week for the first time that he thinks it may be a good idea for Obama to have a Democratic opponent for the nomination. That's something that would have been considered crazy just a month ago. But with approval ratings going down, unemployment going up, there are a lot of Democrats scratching their heads saying, how is this guy going to win re-election? If we know he can't win re-election, why should we just blindly support him? Historically, it's extraordinarily difficult and even rare for an incumbent president to win re-election when the rate of unemployment is going up. Now, you can win re-election if unemployment is high. Reagan did it in 1984. Harry Truman did it in 48. But it was headed in the right direction. It was headed down. With Reagan, unemployment was at 7% in 1984, but the economy had already gotten better, kicked in, and the economy was adding jobs. We saw zero growth in jobs this last month. That hasn't happened in some 45 years. So that's got a lot of people extremely worried about Obama.
Mm-hmm. Can you start from the part where you said that Republicans are angry with Obama, Democrats are angry with Obama, the general public is angry with Obama, and tell us about why each is so upset and how that's affected ratings?
Sure. Basically, everybody's upset with Obama these days. Republicans are upset with him because they think he's a big socialist. Democrats are upset with him because they think he is a wimp and just caves into whatever the Republicans want. And independents are upset with him because they say, hey, we just want results. We just want to see the economy growing and more jobs. We don't see it. And after 3 years, it's too late to just blame everything on Bush.
Okay. And you talked about the economy being the number one issue. Can you just branch out a little bit to tell us, like you said before, that people saw Obama kind of caving in. There was the whole deficit ceiling, the whole debt ceiling issue with the economy, the high unemployment, the foreign wars that people are wired overseas at all. Like all of these different factors that people are unhappy with that are stemming from the economy.
Sure. A lot of Democrats are unhappy with the way Obama's managed the economy. They say he caved into what Republicans wanted by bailing out Wall Street, and yet he didn't bail out homeowners. Horrible thing to do, turn his back on the people who put him in office, didn't really help the economy. He caved into the banking industry when it came to regulating the banks. Most feel we're at greater danger right now than another financial implosion because banks get to do wild speculative things just like before, only now they're bigger, more concentrated. People are upset that he caved in to the Republicans, extending all the Bush tax cuts. And they're asking, what policies is he specifically doing to help middle class, lower middle class, poor people in America? They can't find much other than national health care.
Now why, I know that Obama obviously he's the president, he's a key figure everybody's looking at, but why are people turning their anger on the economy to him specifically when we had the recession under Bush? Why is this, coming all under, the current?
Well, there is a saying, the buck stops here, and that is right on the front of every president's desk, metaphorically. So people do put the pressure on the president to run the economy. When it goes really well and the president had nothing to do with it, he gets all the credit. When it goes in the toilet, when it goes way down, the president's going to get the blame, even if it's not his fault. That's simply a rule of politics. And the Democrats would say, Obama would say, look, it's not my fault. I inherited a massive, massive financial mess. Bush destroyed the economy. Clinton handed over the keys to the White House to George Bush with surpluses, with balanced budgets, and George Bush proceeded to have massive tax cuts that threw everything out of whack and waged two wildly expensive wars. So Bush bankrupted the country, at the same time letting Wall Street run wild and pushing this attitude of government's always bad, regulation is always bad. The result is you had Wall Street and every bank handing out mortgages to people like candy, and it created this massive housing bubble. When it imploded, the economy was left in tatters, and there wasn't much Obama could do. Now, his liberal critics would say Obama really made a huge mistake by not having a multi-billion-dollar stimulus, that given the whole of the economy, the $800 billion stimulus was never able to help. It should have been a couple of $1 trillion. This $800 billion just didn't do anything. Way too small. So he was set up for failure from the beginning. And Republicans, to their credit, have been honest. Last year, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, said, my number one priority is making sure Obama does not win re-election. So the Republicans have been very open that they basically don't care about the economy or the American people or anything. It's a very specific political agenda. They want to harm Obama any way they can. If they destroy the economy, they know it's going to be pretty easy to vote Obama out. So they've been very open about their strategy. I'll give them credit for that. And it's been successful because anything that could have happened to really help the economy, the Republicans have stopped. That's why most observers are not very optimistic about Obama's speech on Thursday night, because he can make a call for a $300 million stimulus plan. The reality is that's too small to really budge the needle on the unemployment, and Republicans are just going to say, oh no, that's more big government socialism. No, dead on arrival. So I don't really know what this speech is going to do to help him, because the Republicans have already said, anything you propose, we're going to veto. Basically, we don't like you. We don't want to do anything that will help you. So it's very naked politics going on in Washington. And so far, it is an effective strategy of Republicans. The fact that the approval ratings of the Republican-led House is going down doesn't matter. It's bringing Obama down in the process.
Okay, interesting. Can you just tell me, one of the reasons too that people are blaming Obama is because besides we already talked about what he inherited, but under Obama the spending has gone up so much. We got involved in 3 wars overseas, and the debt ceiling was in front of Obama. So can you just mention very briefly, just including the idea of the wars also?
Well, government spending has gone up under Obama's administration, but it's actually gone up less than what it did under the Bush administration, and proportionally even less than the Reagan administration. It is true that Obama did inherit a couple of wars, and he has continued them. But anytime there's a recession, a lot of things kick in that automatically force government spending to go up. Unemployment, if you're going to have unemployment compensation for people, it naturally goes up when they are unemployed. That's not about Obama passing some new program. The big rap on him is that his health care plan is so wildly expensive, and yet when you look at every serious health care analyst, they will tell you his plan reduces long-term costs to the government and everyone else with his plan. But that gets lost in the partisanship because conservative commentators, those aligned with the Republican Party of the U.S., had it in their interest to paint this picture of him being the out-of-control spendthrift. The reality is that's not really the case.
Okay, can you just tell me really quickly, what about, the job creation plan that he has laid forth? Do you think this could help with his approval ratings, in terms of the American population?
There is nothing in his speech that's instantly going to create a big boost, a meaningful boost in his approval ratings. Will it go up for a day or two? Maybe, but ultimately, if you're in a massive recession with high unemployment, the only thing that's going to make the president more popular is bringing the unemployment down, increasing jobs, and at this point, the president is handcuffed. The Republicans have said, we are not going to let you do anything. So all he can really do is attack the Republicans more forcefully and try to paint a picture to Americans that the Republicans are the obstructionists, that they are the ones destroying the economy, in a way similar to what President Harry Truman did in 1948 and what Reagan did in 1984. When Reagan was running for re-election in 84, the economy was still very bad, but he was constantly running against the Democrats, against Jimmy Carter, against the liberals in Congress. He continued to run against the old regime, even though he'd been in power for 4 years. So it can be done. The problem for Obama is he hasn't shown any willingness to do this. He wants to be Mr. Nice Guy. He wants to be the polite, nice guy reaching out. He doesn't seem to have that desire to really paint his opponents in any negative way. And the problem is they have no problem attacking him, vilifying him as a socialist, and as incompetent, and as a fool. So when voters only hear one side of the story, that really affects the final outcome. For the most part, voters are only hearing that Obama is doing everything wrong. They're not really hearing the other side. So that's hurting him and helping the Republicans.
Mm-hmm. What exactly is his job creation plan? Like, can you break it down, like what you like or what you don't like?
You haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it yet? Okay. But you mentioned the $300 million.
But that's all.
Okay, got it. Okay, so just tell me lastly, like.
And then I guess the bigger point is, you just don't know that it matters, because most economists, any economist I think has any credibility, will say nothing is going to work without spending. The economy needs some demand in it. Companies can't just artificially create demand, they need customers. Individuals are paying down debt and their houses are underwater. The only place it can come from is government spending money. That's how we got out of the Reagan recession. And this time, the government spending is not enough to make a dent. Therefore, we are stuck.
Mm-hmm. But one of the things people are unhappy about too is that we went to Libya, we're still paying trillions of dollars. Yet again, what they say is like $1 billion a month war. So, or $11 billion a month. So
we are spending a lot on wars, and President Obama is continuing a lot of the same policies of George Bush. So that's not why people are upset with it. There's only a small sliver of the isolationist left that's really opposed to that on the Democratic side. And there's only a small sliver of the isolationist right, the libertarian, Ron Paul being upset about that. What's caused the massive deficits is all the huge tax cuts. And that's something that the Republicans insisted on, not Obama.
And lastly, what do you think his chances are? Again, one more time, very briefly, what are his chances as we look at it right now? Why are his approval ratings so low as we see it in September, and how's that going to affect him, next year for election?
The low approval ratings hurt him in many ways. People don't fear him. His political adversaries don't fear him, so they're less likely to be persuaded by anything he wants. So it hurts him every single day. It also hurts him because Democrats may come out of the woodwork and start running against him. Ultimately, it hurts him because it could pave the way to losing re-election. I put his odds at winning re-election no greater than 50-50 right now.
And you said that Democrats, they might actually run against him. What's the likelihood? Is that even allowed?
Well, sure, it's obviously allowed. Anybody can run for president. Any Democrat can run. The question is, can a serious major national political figure a Democratic senator or a Democratic governor run against Obama and actually get party support, get financial support. At the moment, that's not possible. But if his poll numbers continue to go down, if Republicans gain strength and people start seeing a matchup of Harry versus Obama and Harry winning by 20 points and Obama's negative ratings above 50%, at that point, you'll see a lot of Democrats run.
Great. Okay, I think we're good.
Great. I know you want to do I have to run.
I'm running.
Just one time again. So we have